Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services, the video session on daily news and editorial analysis dated 29th of November. Through this video session, I'll be discussing the important news and editorial both from the Hindu and Indian Express. The relevance of this analysis will help specifically for the examination like civil services, state public service commission examination, and one-day examination conducted by various state and union agencies. So this will give you the deep insight about the given news and we'll discuss the editorial that will again relevant for the examination. And before I start with the discussion, just to remind all the aspirants who will be appearing for the upcoming prelims examination, which is scheduled at 26th of May 2024. I think most of you must be aware of the date because UPSC ने अपने academic calendars में सारी चीजें detailed out कर दी हैं. And at this time, like we are at the end of the November and the December is starting, it is very important that you practice a good number of MCQs. So we at Apti Plus has come up with All India Test Series program named as Nishchay. This is specifically for the aspirant who will be appearing for 2024. Under this All India Test Series program, we are providing with 4900 plus questions. Video discussions will along with be there. There will be demo test and free magazines for content enrichment. So do check it out to excel in the upcoming prelims examination. Now let's get started with the highlights of the news for the day. The first important news is about the case of flu strain that was reported in UK. We'll see the detail and how it resembles the pig virus. We'll see detail to that. The second important news is about the RBI, basically the new measures to increase the risk weight for the lending. This is specifically with context to the NBFC, that is the non-banking financial companies. The third important news talks about NASA that will train Indian astronaut for the ISS mission. We'll see the discussion to this as well. The second last news talks about India to play a major role in support to the peace which is there specifically in the region. This Saudi Arabia के खास करके envoy ने बातें कही हैं that we need to work out on that. And we'll conclude the session with editorial that talks about the maritime security in the global south, something very important. These are the topic which is repeatedly asked in the mains examination. Now let's get started with the detailed discussion of the news one by one. So the first is UK detect the first human case of the swine flu strain. Now something very important, अगर आप बात करें recent में जो cases है flu की, that is high in China. China में pneumonia की cases देखे गए हैं and UK has been detected with the part of new swine flu strain, right? Now this is something which resemble with the part of thing which is found in the pig, specifically this is what has been resembling. तो यूके के हेल्थ ऑफिशियल ने बताया कि एक नई स्वाइन फ्लू डिटेक्ट की गई है ह्यूमंस में एंड दिस इज फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम दैट द कंट्री हैज बीन रिपोर्टेड विद सच केसेस. नाउ स्क्रीनिंग एंड टेस्टिंग, आई मीन दैट इज अ वे आउट. अगर किसी भी कंट्री में किसी भी तरह की वायरस रिपोर्ट की जाती है, द फर्स्ट एंड द फोरमोस्ट एक्शन दैट नीड्स टू बी डन इज दैट द टेस्टिंग एंड स्क्रीनिंग. So the health officer of the United Kingdom, they are investigating the cases and specifically अगर swine flu की बात करें, ये एक type of influenza के तौर पे आई है. This is H1N2. So this is important. Many a times for one day examination, specifically one day examinations की बात करें, वहाँ पे कई बार ये चीजें relevant होती हैं. Now UK Health Survey Agency, which is known as UKHSA, they have said that the virus strain is similar to the flu virus currently circulating in the pigs in the United Kingdom. तो men में ये human being में पहली बार report की गई है and it was earlier reported in the animals such as pigs. So if it is being asked common example के तौर पे तो आप इसे सही mark कर सकते हैं. You can take a note of this. Now the background of influenza H1 virus which is there, this is an zoonotic virus which has come with the part of populations and it has come to the human contact through animals. Animal के बाद human contact में इसे देखा गया है first time in the UK. There have been several region where this actually virus has been reported, but UK में this is for the first time. H1N1, H1N2, H3N2. These are the major subtype of the influenza virus. कई बार match up the columns में specifically prelims examination में इस तरह के सवाल पूछे जाते हैं कि किससे related है. There it become important. Now virus of the pig and occasionally injected in the human, usually after the detect of indirect exposure to the pigs that is contaminated with the environment. So there's a human contact basically with animals. in any format. It can be either through domestications, या तो वो domestications के through आए, or either consuming of a meat. They're the two variant where which the particular virus can reach out to human being, right? So we need to be cautious on that part. And definitely 50 cases report किए गए influenza के globally since 2005, and it has been related to the genetically part of the strain. And we have seen that during COVID-19 कई बार जो strain पाई जाती थी COVID-19 में वो mutations के वजह से, if you look at the mutations part, the virus become more stronger, right? So उस चीज़ों को भी देखने की ज़रूरत है कि genetically जो strain है, how strong it is and how impactful it is for the human being. Now, if you look at influenza virus in general, I would like to discuss on this part also, because when we are discussing influenza, it become important for prelims. कई ऐसे एग्जाम में डायरेक्ट सवाल आपसे इन्फ्लुएंजा वायरस के बारे में पूछे जा सकते हैं. So these are the type of RNA virus, that is ribonucleic acid virus, which belongs to the fight of orthovimuridae, right? The virus are responsible for causing influenza, contagious respiratory illness commonly known as flu. जब आपके थ्रोट में प्रॉब्लम्स होती है, जब आपके रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक्स में प्रॉब्लम्स होती है, दैट इज मेनली बिकॉज ऑफ द वायरस. सो यू नीड टू टेक गुड प्रिकॉशन ऑफ yourself. And specifically my advice to all the aspirant, these are the winter session where your immunity level is not at that peak, right? You need to boost it up. और आप इस तरह के फ्लू जो रेस्पिरेटरी प्रॉब्लम्स है, which is pretty high in the winter season, you need to take a good caution of yourself, right? There are 4 types of influenza which is actually there. The types named as A, then we have B, C and D influenza type, which is another type of which cause seasonal flu and epidemics. You must have come across in your locality that suddenly the people coming up with cold and flu tend to surge during winters because the immunity is low, and even the people who do not have high immunity tend to resist. I mean, they actually forecast the problem in terms of sneezing, cold or fever. Now, what exactly is the swine flu? Some basics that you need to know. So it was originated in pigs in central Mexico. तो सबसे पहले अगर एनिमल की बात की जाए स्वाइन फ्लू को लेकर के, एनिमल इज द वन कैरियर. It's a host basically. It caused by the type of A strain, which is influenza virus, infect the pigs. The first case was reported in India in 2009. इंडिया में सबसे पहली केस 2009 में रिपोर्ट की गई है, which is in हैदराबाद, राइट? हैदराबाद में पहले केसेस रिपोर्ट हुए थे. Sign or symptoms, it's common like many other diseases like high fever, headache, muscle pain, sore throat, chills. These are the things that you will be feeling. Malaise and fatigue, vomiting, and even nausea and diarrhea, right? Preventions often वायरस से बचने के लिए सबसे पहले जो COVID-19 में जितनी precautions WHO ने रिलीज की है, these are the all precautions that is eventually required, right? So you have to wash your hand. These are some of the precautions, you can read it out, right? And vaccination is the way out, right? Vaccination से ही बचा जा सकता है, and even you can use mask and less contact with the people which is actually infected. These are the all suggestions that is given by the doctor itself. Now moving ahead with the other news, RBI new risk for the vetted rules. I have already made a discussion to the related news in our daily news and editorial analysis. Now this is something new which is there reported in the newspaper. So recently RBI ने revise किया अपने risk weighted norms को specifically for the NBFC. What does NBFC mean? NBFCs is the non-banking financial companies, right? जो पहले 100% हुआ करती थी restrictions, उसको weighted को बढ़ा के RBI ने 125 किया है, और दूसरे sectors के लिए for most susceptible sector it has become 120, 150 exactly, right? So this would be applicable for the unsecured personal loan, credit card and lending by the NBFC. And even to give you an example, Bajaj जिस तरह की NBFC है, उनके लेंडिंग जो खास करके EMI कार्ड्स है, कंज्यूमर ड्यूरेबल लोन्स है, उनको RBI ने स्ट्रिक्टली रिस्ट्रिक्ट किया है टू provide any further loan or consumer durable, right? So these are some of the restrictions that has been imposed by the central bank, that is the Reserve Bank of India. Now RBI अपने proposals में credit risk की बात कही है. Credit risk is something which is increasing, and even it has entailed to the borrower being unable to meet their obligations and defaulting on their commitments, right? So it has ultimately rest to the part of NP also, non-performing assets भी बोल सकते हैं आप, या minimum level पे हैं, but these are tend to risk on a more side. So risk weighted is an essential tool that bank measures with the risk. तो ये एक important tool होती है जहाँ पे RBI इस तरह के measures की use करती है. This is again risk weighted की जो concept है वो आपके prelims के लिए भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा relevant है. Now, in this metric, percentage factors adjusted with the risk associated with a certain type is again involved. तो RBI ने इसी वजह से कोशिश की है कि जो risk weighted के number है from 100, I mean from 100%, it has increased to 125, right? Now, in the other words, the indicator is that the essential holding of the lender should be adjusted with the associated risk, and this is something which RBI has come up with the direction by increasing the rate, by increasing the number. Now, increasing the risk weighted, I have already told you 25% increase हुई है. Earlier it was 100, now it has reached up to 125%. And consumer credit और commercial banks खास करके जो है उनके लिए 125 की गई है. Now, RBI is weight number where money must be kept aside for the large loan required by the Reserve Bank of India. So these are 125% of the reserve would be required mandatorily to be kept in the bank separately. If anything occurs, if any misfunctioning takes place, this reserve would be used. Now, why we are changing and why these changes are necessary, this is the first and foremost question that strike your mind. So RBI governor ने कहा है that we have flagged concern of high growth in certain components of the consumer credit. Specifically अगर बात करें consumer durable loan की, you have come across consumer durable loan, or it is commonly known as EMI scheme, equated monthly installment, जहाँ पे zero down payment के concepts पे भी actually market काम करी है. So it has led to the high surge, even the lending rate is high, the repayment is less, and the default is high. So the RBI governor has advised the NBFC to strengthen the internal surveillance mechanism, जहाँ पे profit built खास करके जो risk है उसको और ज़्यादा देखा जाए. We need to make caution addressing the part of the risk which is involved and institute a suitable safeguard for their own interest. So this is how RBI is taking the cautions in terms of risk weighted, specifically with regards to the NBFC. Now, some other details that will help you to understand and what is the exact performance. तो आप देख सकते हैं retail loan, consumer durable loans की number काफ़ी ज़्यादा बढ़ी है for the month of September. This is what has been there. Credit outstanding and other loans are there. And whatever we have discussed, this is already mentioned in this. You can either take screenshot for the revision purposes. Now, कुछ major concerns की अगर बात करें जो RBI ने raise की, the first and foremost is related to the part of capital adequacy for overall bank profitability, right? उसके अलावा जो immediate effect है higher interest rate में भी देखी गई है. जो NBFCs हैं that face double whammy because of the high risk, right? और lending की अगर बात करें, the funding for NBFC constitute 41.2%, which is there in this diagram which you can see, right? 42.1%. So these are some of the concern that was specifically highlighted as entity, और ये data concern है RBI के लिए. Now, NASA to train Indian astronaut for ISS mission. So National Aeronautical Space Administration, the US agencies will actually train Indian astronaut. जो Indian astronaut है, specifically अगर बात करें इसरो के जो astronauts हैं उनको ट्रेन की जाएगी for International Space Station by the end of 2024. Something very important, our collaboration has already been there between NASA and ISRO, और इस तरह की collaborative efforts पे दोनों countries ने काफ़ी milestone भी achieve किए. So training की अगर बात करें, the Indian astronaut is said to have the Indian space stations. 2024 में actual में ये सारी चीज़ें conceptualize की जाएगी. The process will be chunked out and the astronaut will be selected by ISRO. So Indian Space Research Organization जो है वो सारी selections process को actually fulfill करेंगे. The selections will become with the 4% which will have to undergo with the basic space astronaut training preparation for the Gaganyaan mission. India is actually looking forward with the Gaganyaan mission, और ये बहुत ही milestone achievement होगी इंडिया के लिए with this missions. Now the science objective is for 2 long missions that will be decided by India. Now Bharatiya Antariksh Station, Indian Space Station, that will be there, it will be called, and it will be built by India and operated with the Indian Space Research Organizations. Station is expected to be completed by 2035. Something important, specifically अगर मेंस में बात करें यूपीएससी के मेंस में आपसे इस तरह के सवाल पूछे जा सकते हैं. India's journey in the space sector, there you can utilize this folder point. Now NISA, that is the NASA ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar, is an equal collaboration between NASA and ISRO, जो कि collaborate करेगी for the first time in terms of hardware development and even as a Earth observatory missions. Now, moving ahead with other news, that is peace and stability in the Arab country. This is something which actually has been advocated for the Arab countries with India, that India को इस टाइम पे सपोर्ट करने की जरूरत है to ensure that the peace and stability are there in the region. We have seen how Israel and Palestine are fighting. The Hamas group is actually, the things are devastating in the region. तो इस कंसर्न में जो अरब कंट्रीज के एनवॉय हैं, they have actually seeks India assistance to ensure that stability and peace continue in the region. So, what was actually demanded? So, the International Day for Solidarity, this is something which is there, the main concern. The League of Arab States have recently commemorated the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestine people at the Palestine Embassy, which is there in Delhi. Right, so they are actually looking forward for India's assistance to ensure that the peace and tranquility actually, prevail in the region. November 11, Saudi Arabia has hosted an extraordinary joint Arab Islamic summit, and the summit has formed the delegations which was actually for the mission outreach, जहाँ पे all major capital to explain the need for peace and ceasefire. Now, Arab League की अगर बात करें, this is something again important for prelims as well. कुछ basics जो आपको पता होने चाहिए. Arab Leagues are the League of Arab States, that is a regional organization of Arab states in the Middle East and the part of Africa. Right? It was formed in Cairo, 22 March 1945. Cairo में इसकी formation हुई थी. Member states हैं Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, right? Jordan, Saudi Arabia and Yemen. कई बार direct सवाल पूछे जा सकते हैं आपसे Arab League के बारे में, so this is important. The league actually strengthened the ties with the member state, coordinate करती है policies में and for a common good for all the member countries. Currently, there are 22 members, including Palestine, as a league and regarded as an independent state. Now, moving ahead with the editorial for the day, that is the change of maritime security in the global south. Something very important. अगर global south as a concept की बात करें, this is there in the news, and you as an aspirant need to know this both from prelims and mains perspective. दोनों से आपको पता होना चाहिए कौन कौन से countries खास करके global south में आते हैं. Like we have westernized country in the north, a term of global south has specifically emerged from Indo-Pacific countries, Asian countries, so that they could also grow and strengthen their economy, boosting their economic ties as well. So what are the issues that I'll be discussing? First, we'll see at the unconventional security threat, belief about the global south, the part of creative models, and the way forward. Now, maritime security की actually concern है इस article में, and specifically the focus is there on the maritime security. I'll better address it as MS. So, global south is global south में maritime security एक complex issue है. This is something which is a complex issue, and not only for India but for many other countries, maritime security has become very important with the fact that China's dominance in the Indo-Pacific has not yet been countered. तो एक multifaceted issues है where the range of challenges and issues still exist and persist. The term of the global south generally refers to the country with Africa, Latin America, Asia, Oceania. तो ये कुछ region है, कुछ countries हैं that actually, global south की अगर बात करें तो global south में ये countries come together and they have a unique maritime security concern. Now, in the recent year, hard security challenges were there in the maritime domain that have acquired new menacing dimensions. Now, unconventional security threats की अगर बात करें, there are bulk of security threat which is there. Some of them include the part of illegal fishing. This can be the one part. Natural disaster is the second. Then we have maritime pollutions and even human and drug trafficking. This is the other component, and the impact of climate change. So apart from the man-made disaster, the natural disaster is also a part of maritime security threat. This also need to be taken into consideration. अगर आप मेंस एग्जामिनेशन में कुछ लिख रहे हैं तो आप natural disasters के points भी जरूर highlight करें. Now, they are difficult to fight the use of only military means. There are other ways that we have to also counter. Now, India during the G20 presidency, India was actually the president of G20, और इस G20 में African Union को include करने के बाद this has become G21. This is again something important, but I'll tell you what actually India has emphasized for. India has emphasized for the concern of the global south, discussions to find the solutions and the most pressing issues on the maritime domain. Now, belief about the global south, how it will evolve, and what is actually being think out when we talk about the global south as a perception at the global arena. So a widespread belief is there in terms of the peaceful nations कि इंडो पैसिफिक में negatively affect करती है developing countries को. These are some of the belief system that is existing, right? But the current security that evolve in terms of national, environmental, economic, and human security make it more challenging, and this require more to manage, right? Moreover, the less developed countries are region to face disproportionate part of सी लेवल राइज. ये सबसे बड़ी नेचुरल काउस के प्रॉब्लम्स हैं जो हमें इसको काउंटर करना है. सी लेवल, मैरीन पोल्यूशंस, and even the climate change, natural disaster, leaving them more vulnerable, and the vulnerability still exists at the point of time. Now, the way out is something we need to set out a proposal. We need to come up with a proposal जहाँ पे काम करने की ज़रूरत है to deal with the maritime challenges, specifically in the Indo-Pacific. So Indo-Pacific is something which has already been important for the region. And the rest 7 pillars that include is the maritime ecology, maritime resources, capacity building, disaster risk reductions और maritime connectivity. तो आप इसको एक डायग्राम के फॉर्म में भी बना करके मेंस में लिख सकते हैं. दिस विल फेच यू एडिशनल मार्क्स स्पेसिफिकली इन द मेंस एग्जामिनेशन, राइट? And implementing and collaborating with the strategies with change with the part of maritime agencies to improve the interoperability. इंटेलिजेंस के साथ काम करने की जरूरत है. और रूल बेस्ड ऑर्डर is something that is essentially required to ensure that we are making something feasible, sustainable, and in the longer run ensuring the maritime security challenges to be addressed. So this is how you can conclude your answer for the mains examination. Moving ahead with the answers discussion for the yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is B. By B, the option statement 3 become correct and option 1 become correct. 2 is incorrect, where India, China, and US has collectively account for 42% of the greenhouse gases. So check out what you have marked as a correct option. The second question of the day is about the Celtic tide. यहाँ पे option C correct है, जहाँ के दोनों statement जो थे वो correct options में. Today's MCQ for practice. The first question of the day is about the Asian Development Bank, that is ADB. This is there in news. आपको बताना it's a member for Asia and Pacific. It does not fund project for the private sector. It vote of the part of proportions to the capital subscriptions of the member. Again, important questions from the contemporary topics. आपको क्या करना है, क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 लिख करके अपने आंसर A, B, C या फिर D के फॉर्मेट में हमें कमेंट सेक्शन में बतानी है. The second question for the day is one station, one product. It is a scheme by the Ministry of Railway. It's provide locally developed sales outlet product for the indigenous product, right? So check out for the correct option, write your answer in the comment section, participate in the daily MCQs so that you get a revision and boost your current affairs preparation for the upcoming prelims examination. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, queries about test series, mock tests, interview programs, admissions to the new courses, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for stay connected, prepare hard, and get your success. Thank you so much.